is do this, you know. So for the folks who inside, although we all talking a little bit, we just sharing experiences. Of course, welcome to everybody. And if anybody wants to contribute, yeah, anybody. So for the folks who inside, although we all talking a little bit, we just share. All right, I'm gonna mute that. Right.
Okay. So if you want to, let's see it will bore you and look. Let's click on leave. Okay.
Of course, you could tell a friend this thing on. So again, we teaming up with technology. So we live here on Zoom. And we also will be broadcasting on. Yeah, I'm broadcasting. We also live on YouTube via YouTube.
Well, let's say I'm doing it. I'm doing a video to see like Jason every video, not doing a video. That's the video. So now we will see. You know, like in mass, like how when it was Easter time when we actually saw it, we looked at mass and we saw people saying it's from me.
We hear any people full conversation. No. I don't know who was that. Kester Silly, good evening, partner. Thanks for joining. You know, occasionally are opening people.
Good evening, Marcus. I'm happy to be on the inside, man.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, this time of the evening, we ain't have cricks and cheese paste to share, but you're entitled to go and get your own cricks. Make your own sandwich. We will do a little music now and then. I don't know if anybody want to sing. If a man feel that he should raise a prayer, we welcome and all that. Right? What we doing as the title of the evening is that we're doing this one for Sprang. Right? So we will,
yes, a good soldier.
Of course, we throwing it out and encouraging everybody who on the inside. And if anybody have any, you know, may have had personal experiences or just something you remember.
He's seen them here because he's see him.
Something that you remember. I mean, we taking the opportunity to share. You know. Joan, I'm mute you for a little bit. If it is, I'm not sure if that somebody was setting up something. I don't know if it was Joan or Carol. I feel it was June, right? So this is how we starting the thing going. As I say, just setting up the YouTube here.
My name there.
Somebody in the country, boy. I hear a nice piece of cricket and thing chirping inside there. And listening to that broadcast to Damien and for everybody else in the room, WAC had a nice little program, and of course you could check out WAC YouTube page. I'm sure you'll be able to pull it back. Kenny Phillips had a nice little sit down, a one-on-one with Sprang, a very recent one-on-one. So this is where, you know, and he mentioned a lot of things, you know, and more than ever, I think it's the historian in Sprang that I was always drawn close to, and not so much the comedian. And I even remember telling, for me, you know, asking him backstage, like, how you just do this? What? Well, Damien, you know, I will throw it to you, sometimes even to you. How you just do this? What you? He said, just go ahead and do it. Just go. And like I could see hand, yellow wave, he will tell it, go, just go.
Just go and do it, man.
Just go. And that is all. Just go. Go now, man. Go. I said, but me no comedian. He said, neither me. Right? So all of this is how we doing it. In between, we'll be touching a little music. We'll remember the thing nice. Nice. I'm looking for a particular song. They meant this thing. The boss got vexed with me, you know, how I'm doing this, but I'm doing my thing. I'm doing something also for Calypso History Month.
All right.
You know, so well, you know, I just dig up the Kaiso and package it, put it in a pack and then put it out there. That one too. All right, so again, I'm seeing a few folks join us here, and good evening and welcome everybody. So who all those on the inside so far, thanks for choosing to join the live, as we say, we're doing this for Sprang. Again, this is an open forum. This is not a lecture. This is not me giving and dominating the airwaves. This is for everybody to chip in, maybe, you know, post give a memory, share a moment, ask a question, talk about a song, talk about something. All right? So
I don't know why there's no.
you don't know why what?
I'm not seeing you, but it's all right.
You're not seeing who? Me?
You.
Or you're not seeing me? Well, all right. Tell me if you're seeing me now. Seeing me now?
Yes. Yep.
All right. What happens is that I think whichever view you're on, you will be viewing the speaker. What happens is that I'm taking audio from one place and I'm taking video from another place. You know, in just technology now. Yeah, I don't like the video quality of the laptop video. It doesn't accentuate the locks in my hair too good. But the other video doing wonders, man. It's making me feel that locks looking good. You know? I'm not accustomed with so much hair and beard and thing. You know, in Kester, I'm not accustomed. Right, so again, folks coming in. Damien, you want to start the ball rolling? When was, or how far back was that experience with you with Sprang?
Wow. You dig out some cobweb there, man.
Yeah, man. Let me go back. Let me take it back. Way back.
This could be about 2000 or so, man. Yeah, that could be right after Scouting for Talent, 1997, around the era coming up there. So I fall into that groove and meeting them guys.
Oh, okay.
And from ever since, Sprang was always Sprang. Sprang never changed for me. Never. And I always remember one thing you always say, I didn't want this fame thing, you know, Damien. Me all this fame thing. Me all the do and everybody is Sprang along. Me all that. I just want to do my thing, get my money and go home.
And you know, it's always interesting as you say that he does always make, and even the interview listening with him from last week, he said I work hard, you know.
Yeah.
He said this is hard work, you know. So that 2000 and along that years, I mean, other than being, you all worked. Well, all I ever do a shift together on radio or anything?
Nah. We did when we was doing on the bench. We had a program called On the Bench that was on the coffee itself in the early days of WAC, and that was something else too, because you used to the same histories you're getting now or that you used to give. And I think that was the marvel for me with Sprang, the fact that on the drop of a coin, he could answer any question pertaining to culture.
Right.
I can remember him saying, when somebody will tell him, so Sprang, yeah, cream in your foot, you say cream my foot, you know much for a bottle of cream, I could buy a CD.
Yeah, you see that, and I mean,
Archiving was his passion, though.
yeah,
Archiving was his passion.
and only recently
Exactly.
we were speaking about that, and we did a little thing out at Errol Fabian's at Gael, and we were talking about who archive and who archive and where people archive this end up when they pass away and all that kind of. And you know, I am marveled to know where his archive will end up.
That was a question in conversation today for real.
You know,
Could
because
deal with that? Because I remember him with total vex where our government wanted it for free.
So, you know, we did our bread and egg. Are you looking to kill people?
yeah, and you know, maybe that's an important question. You know, if somebody's archive like Sprangaland's archive, if the government should get involved and purchase anything.
He wanted to, but they wasn't willing to pay the cost for the kind of work that I had inside, man.
Yeah, and again to all the others inside, I mean, feel free if anybody want to chime in and add a 2 cents. Annette, good evening, welcome again. But yeah, an archive like that is an important piece of archive.
Yeah, good evening, Marcus.
Hey, Annette, good evening.
Yeah, you know, it is so funny that this talk on archiving should come up because we had a student this year, one of those I supervise, Katz is a Japanese guy. I don't know if you know him, Katsunarai Amai. I think he is that guy with the ponytail at Napa, the
Right.
guy who helps with the equipment, sound engineer, and you would see him with the steel band and stuff like that.
Right.
His thesis topic this year was on archiving the carnival. And yeah, and this is something that comes up all the time. We have bits and pieces all over, but to have it into one special place, that had been his thesis topic. You know, when you want something, is here, this person have that, Tuco have some, Carnival Institute have some, and so on. So that was one of my students this year. So interesting stuff, you see. And exactly what looks Prangalang has some, Fabian have some, and that's how the culture is scattered all over. So interesting topic, Damien.
Thank you.
I cannot welcome you back home.
Well, I see Lennox to say welcome. I just muted you a little bit. I don't know if you had an immediate contribution. But I mean, once anybody want to jump in, they could just simply touch the space bar if you're on a computer, if you're on your phone, just unmute yourself. And
What I didn't say, Marcus, is that when I say we, I meant the UTT Masters of Art in Carnival Studies, which you had done brilliantly as well. So I just think I should say that the we is UTT Masters in Carnival Studies. Yeah.
all right, nice. Yeah, well,
How do you get to pull that off roundabout? By making that.
that was one of the things that you know, maybe more than being an MC, I think that's what I always looked up to Sprang along for, his ability to be a researcher, or not just a researcher, but having, I mean, I think, and you know, the interesting thing, Sprang always would say, I hear long time. He say, me and now come, you know, and it have plenty thing he see. A certain time, I remember he always would say that, he said, I used to go to my mother for information. And he said, I only realize I get old when people start coming to me for the information. And I think it's just, you know, he was a person who actively lived. And it's not just a matter that, well, you know, you hear what's going on, but I mean, and the thing is, like I asked Damien the question when, you know, the interaction would have first taken place. My Damien, and well, of course, to everybody else, my first interaction with Sprang was an eavesdropping interaction, you know.
Okay.
Eavesdropping, yeah, used to be Macoin, and here when I say Macoin, that's when Mascam would have Calypso every Wednesday evening. And I was then, we were then at Radio Trinbago. And Radio Trinbago would broadcast from there. And I used to go, me no drinker, so, but I used to go, and Stalin, Valentino, and Sprang along in particular, always used to huddle and talk history and talk facts. And I mean, just a normal conversation, you know, is not to say, you know, men lying and they go talk about, yeah, but that girl past there, you see how she no, not them kind of talk. You know, them used to sit there and talk history. And I was so marveled at that. I mean, and not just Calypso history, but they could tell you in terms of the sportsmen, sportswomen, politician, who, well, sometimes a little old talk, who was with who, and you know, but that was, you know, for me, the interesting part. So I always used to try to stand up close to them. And to act normal, I might order fries and stand up by the bar. So sometimes I catch myself eating about 2 or 3 portions of fries just to be able to keep hearing the conversation. And that was my was my beginning, you know. Yeah. I see Wendell Etienne inside as one of the names that I recognize in. Former.
Hey, Foreman.
What is the scene?
I dare.
Well, thanks for coming.
Well, if the former call me out, I have to respond.
Well, right. Well, what we doing, and for all those who would have joined after our initial, we, as the old people used to say, when somebody passed, we would just find a way, especially in country, and we as country people, we would just reach by the house. Of course, now it ain't have no house to just reach by, because look inside this room alone have 16 people or so. We will get locked up, right?
Not we. I find it is the we is the problem though.
So, Sprang will say you're on your own with that.
Yeah, sure, right.
So this is we own Cricks and Cheese session. I should name it that, Cricks and Cheese. You know, this is we Cricks and Cheese pay session. This is how we come together. We have different people who will share their experiences. Jenny, I see your hand. So Wendell, this is what we're doing. This is where we just come in, we'll just share some experience, talk. We will just maybe mix it up with a little music. Everybody will, you know, chip in. So I know you would have had your interaction.
All right.
Where was your
Sorry, where was my?
where your interaction with Sprang began?
Oh, that would have been as early as 1996, 96, 97, about there. It actually began before I started doing theater. I hadn't emceed a show really, but we met through me visiting the Calypso tent,
Right.
you know, and at the time, him being the resident MC at Review, and it, as a matter of fact, could have been earlier because he MC'd Review that season with Mudada.
Okay.
And me being the fast fella that I am, find a way to meander to meet the great Dennis Sprang along Hall. So that was the initial meeting. And he was receptive, you know, to a young person who didn't have no history in the thing. You know, I had a couple of questions about the Calypso, and I think that was the first trigger. We met in earnest after 1998, where I actually did a show called Red House Fire, which Tony wrote. So I would have met Sprang during the process, and we had a lot then. And I think that is when, you know, our real friendship began. And then as things evolved and careers evolved, by 2000, we were actually sharing stages together. A lot of people may not have known, but there were several times promoters with a smaller contingent than the usual large Caribbean thing, and Sprang and I used to room together outside.
Okay.
You know, when promoters looking to cut a little corner here on cost, we room together outside a little bit. Along the way, building into the Calypso interest, he was the one who started and encouraged me to start my own collection. So I would sit at his house for hours, going through the music. He would explain who was who sang what in what era. A little later on, when I had joined the Radio Trinbago family, there was a morning I did a program called Mark and Partner. So you play two calypsos, different singers, same topic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kind of education is what Sprang would have imparted. That, you know, fellas would have treated the same topic differently based on their own experience. So along the line, we really got close, you know. So that's where it really started for me. As early as 96, 97, but from, let's say, from 99, moving up, where I get my papers marked, and I start sharing stages with the bigger guys as the little fella in the thing. You know, that's where we really get to gel and talk and share experiences. Many moons after that, we shared an evening program at 102 together. So we did that for a couple of years too. So we've had a kind of intertwining of careers. When I was the MC under guidance. You know, Sprang would tell me, right, make sure and listen to what them fellas singing so you could introduce them with the right intro.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, all that kind of education. So that's it really.
Well, I guess we would have walked again, as per usual, a similar path, you know?
Yeah, man.
Jen, you always, I see your hand up, Jen.
Greetings to everyone. Well, I'm glad to be following Wendell Etienne. He knows me in my official capacity. But in case you didn't know, I'm now in retirement. Notice I didn't say I am retired.
I am surprised you're using the phrase.
And I wanted to, when Marcus was finished speaking, the point at which he left off was where I was going to use what I was going to use as a segue. Because now I lecture part-time to students, good, about the whole question of aging. And we're dealing with the biological, the psychological, and the social. So my style of speaking, I'm a very animated speaker. And I speak just as I'm speaking to you. I don't ever make them feel I'm parenting them. But the mix of students range from about 20 to sometimes I have students who are in their 70s. And I was going through telling them, how did we reach here to be an aging population and whatever? And I am going through using my own life as indicator and a track record. And lo and behold, when I started to hear the exclamations from the students, you travel by train for school, that was one, because I used to live in Tacarigua and I went to school in Bishops in Port of Spain. And then when I told them, well, I am the last of 9, and you know, we live in Tacarigua, and we knew when we had to get up to have our bath in the yard. They say, you mean all you had one bathroom? And then from the questions they were asking, I say, but wait, I am a historian now. And at the time, I didn't see myself as that, because having studied and you do all of that la-di-da, you know, I've always told people close to me, I want to be a griot, because a griot is an elder that is revered in our community because they now are the holders of history. And then also that is with both the Indo and Afro communities, we learned what we learned about mores and norms from oral tradition. So when I heard Sprang, I say, wait a minute, this man ain't just giving jokes, you know, it's just his style of saying what he's saying makes people laugh. But his history is a whole reservoir of information, and plus he has to be very okura with the politics of the day, because that is what the griots did, whether it was a Louis Bennett in Jamaica or whatever. So now that you're seeing now Trevor Noah, the British sounding guy from Africa, that's what he's doing. He's weaving it, the politics and the Black Lives Matter and everything. But the way he does it makes people laugh. But when you really look behind the veil, it's real serious information that being transferred and transmitted. And so my concern now, in this virtual world we are in, and the semester that I'm doing started 2 Thursdays ago. And you know, I had to open the class because listen, you doing a class with students that you're not seeing, you know. You are talking to a screen, you are not seeing them, they are not speaking back to you. And if even you give a joke or what I know would be humorous, they would type in chat, LOL. Now, I now start to drill down this, because in this virtual world that has been imposed on us by COVID, how does a Sprang survive? How does a griot survive when we are animated? And as I told the students, trying to implore them to join me, I say, you find this fear that for 13 weeks I have to be speaking to a screen. And when I have learned from way back, when you're communicating with anybody verbally, 55% of what you are saying is nonverbal, is your body language. So I am telling them this, I so good, all you take off let me see your face now, so that I could at least get an image of who and what. And they're chuckling, but they're telling me they're chuckling on chatter, they're typing it in. And if you all recall, Maya Angelou always says the human voice is an instrument. So what tribute we going to give Sprang when Sprang has left a void that is irreplaceable, because he even uses size as part of his humor, you know, and showing clearly that he's not trying to fit into this this kind of, well, you have to be slim, You have to cross your T's and your I's. You have to know how to project what you are doing. He was real. And he was able to find something, which is the style of a griot. That is a high order in the African community. So I'm not looking at this as just, well, he just would give jokes and Paul Keynes Douglas is another one and all these. But when even I said this to the class, this is at university level, they didn't know what a griot was. So you realize where we started, this is not just starting to talk from a platform that, well, they have passed through primary, they've passed through secondary, and now they are, no. This is an education that almost at Montessori, you have to start drilling it down to let them know what a griot is, what the importance and the role of a griot is, because they're walking around and they don't know that they don't know. They don't know that they don't know. And what is frightening in terms of the learning as we going forward, this is my first virtual class that I had that they call summer program. We don't have summer. And then the exam was open book because we're doing it electronic. So you could be really a F student by your disregard for anything going on in the class. Some of them just record my voice and they're doing something else in the background. So you all are painting this picture for you all to hear me, because this is something I'm grappling with. Because y'all can hear from my voice, I'm not talking with my hands on my lap. My hands all over, because that is who we are. That's why they tell you if I want to keep quiet, tie my hand, because we talk with all of our being. All of our being. We don't just go and stand up on a stage and just talk. So we have to find a way of capturing a Pat Bishop. They had a series on her recently. We have to capture, and she was one of my teachers, and you have to capture a Sprang. You don't just talk of Sprang in past tense, you have to call him a Sprang. How do we make a Sprang? And he's not laughing at his own jokes. And I remember, and I will end here because I don't want to hog the limelight, but I remember going to a friend of mine's daughter who was graduating at Juilliard's in drama. And she was telling us after, the audience has to know that you drunk. You don't have to be walking and carrying on like you have to know you drunk. Just from what you are enacting, the audience who would have read the book or the play has to know from your inferences that you drunk. Or as they say over here, you're tight like wax. This is an art. And so I don't want Sprang to just go and look at when he passed away in a virtual world where 10 people alone could attend of whatever we do it, and the rest will be virtual. So we have to kind of get the vibe from over a screen, many of whom will be like me, you know. I deliberately did this, you know, just take off my video for a while, but you all will see me eventually. But I just wanted you all to capture this world that we enter in now is the voice, only the human voice. The students are doing it. They're listening to that voice. And eventually I was able to coerce half of them, because it was 32 of them that I was talking to. And half of them say, Miss, I want to see you. Because I deliberately left off my video. I say, I doing what you doing to me. And then they say, nah, man, we want to see you. I say, well, all right, well, I want to see you too. But this is where we are at. And I think in all homage to Sprang, and you know, if Sprang had to go on any stage, whether it was Lil Carib or wherever, and talk about this COVID, this little microbe, you know what Sprang would have do with this? I could only imagine. And this whole virtual world and carnival and et cetera, you know? So that's my little contribution. But in terms of hearing Marcus say that he just used to stay around them because he realized they're not just all talking about woman and who with who and what. It was history. And that's what the griot does. They make history liquid. And so I remember everything my grandmother, who was born in 1896, I remember what she told me vividly. So that's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a million. I mean, it's supposed to have reactions here. You're supposed to clap and all kind of thing. They should have had things jumping across the screen. But Jenny, again, I love your energy, man. And indeed, but Jenny, I have a question for you though. You have to be old to be a griot.
No, and you see that, you see how you say that there? If you have to be old. Now, what we mean by old? What we mean by old? Now, I am proud to be saying I am 68 now. And when you see me, people say, what? I'm not going into that about what you're supposed to look like when you're at a particular age. But what is old? Because, and I'll say this in a context, when I was in my household, 9 of us, I tell you, I am the last of 9. My mother's mother was there in the household. She was the matriarch, not my mother. My father was the patriarch. And I was small, and every evening she would call me, and I sit on a little pier by her feet, and she would read the evening prayer. And if you see the book, all the leaves open, but she have a little thing tie around it. And this was at 6:30 every evening, and she giving me oral history. Now, I know my granny with long silver hair, wrinkles, one tooth. She was Bajan. And you see on her evening, put her snuff up in her nostril. Well, I don't know if that equivalent or what tobacco or whatever, but I just know she had a little tin with this snuff. And I just knew what old looked like, because the wrinkles and her eyes had the crow's feet on it and whatever, and her sunken mouth, because she had no teeth except this one. And I knew that was Granny. Guess how old? Because I used to work in the government, right? Since I came back. You know how old Granny is? Now we're using terminology here now. Look at the spin it put in now on these children's mind. The moment you hear Granny and you ask a child to draw me Granny, they draw somebody bent with a stick and feeble. Granny now is 30. You hear what I say? I make a mistake. I was in the ministry. Granny now is 30. So when you're using the word old with Granny, you're gonna cry already.
Well, yeah, grannies don't have to be old again.
No, no. So you understand what is happening. When you become old, as you say, one of your roles is to pass on the proverbial baton. But if Granny is 30, Mommy is 12, and the baby, you have no baton to pass on, because by the time you all grow together, all 3 of you could be in a fete, in an all-inclusive fete together. And the only way you will know the difference is when you turn around, because Granny and weave and whatever, Mommy and weave and whatever, and the daughter. And I'm not saying this in a pejorative way. I'm just telling you, according to Leroy Clark, the isness. So you hit on a trigger there. What is old? And well, just to put it in context, we are living longer now. So the average, the age, the lifespan is now supposed to be 120. So when you think that when you reach 60, oh Lord, I'm getting down, you don't even realize you now reach halfway. You now start to dance. So it's a mind thing, it's a mind game. But Sparrow sing it, age is a number.
It's a number.
Age is a number. And I live it, I know it.
Jenny, I know we wouldn't hear. This is not the last we will hear from you for the evening, and I don't think I know you personally, but I will need to get to know you from you.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that because my mentees are actually begging me to mentor them because they don't have somebody that speaks to them on those kinds of things. And I didn't even see those kinds of things as things, as major things that they want to know, but they're not feeling like they have any more rings. That is what I'm getting from them. And when I'm using them, they are using the millennials. The millennials who born in like 1995. You could imagine that? You and all Marcus, even if you might be in your late 40s or 50s, you don't even realize you're in another generation. Yeah, they're moving that fast, you know? So I'm honored to be at this meeting, you know. I have to do that for Sprang.
Thanks for coming.
You're most welcome.
Well, as everybody would see, and those who came in the later, Jenny was on the floor while a few people came in. But those who were here from earlier, this is how we're doing it. I mean, the floor is open. This is not a lecture series. This is not me tutoring. This is just literally how I wake this people meet, and the only thing we can't play a card. We are playing card, but if you want to, in your own space, play patience or something, pull out a pack of card and play just to create the ambience of the thing. But I like how Jenny mentioned that and referred to Sprang, and Sprang was indeed a griot. And you know, interestingly, for a couple of times, I would have even posted that as a Facebook status. Or, and you're right, Jenny, some people don't know the word. And I mean, at no fault of theirs, but I have always wanted to be the next generation griot. It ain't my time fully yet, but I'm a griot in training. I get. A griot in training. I know Wendell will be there too. Damon, that you too. You are griot in training. Well, you may be a griot in your own way already. You know? I see Mr. Lennox too say inside. I don't know if Lennox would have, or if anybody else. Marisha, I saw you here. You still here?
Hi, Marcus. Good night.
Hey, Marisha, what's going on?
But I spoke last night, so I'm silent. I'm listening. Hi, Wendell. Hi, Damian Melville. Hi, Miss Fitzpatrick. Happy birthday, Miss Bass. I spoke last night, so I'm silent tonight.
All right. So anybody else? I mean, we could open it up. And for those who are familiar with Zoom, there's a raise hand tool that you could use to raise your hand if you want to say anything. I mean, and it's not the literal raise your hand, but it will come up on the screen here, and I'll be able to identify as. But in the meantime, while we gather our thoughts, I want to see if I could just.
Together we just talk and thing, but not like on a daily basis. Some of them even every week. Some of them I'm on time, some of them I pass, some of them in my message. But I know I did for sure.
Oh, yeah. All right. So that person coming. That person. Hey, Blaze, is you? You're coming a little hot there, man. What's going on?
Oh God, sorry. That was the mute from mic there. Hold on.
But we have one or two folks from the Calypso Review. We have Calypso lovers coming on board. And I guess, you know, the thing about Sprang is that I wonder if anybody didn't like Sprang. You know, that is the question. You know, it will have some people, some performers or some artists or some social beings that the society, one or two people mightn't like you. For whatever reason, I wonder if anybody didn't like Sprang. Where Wendell, jump in.
Yeah, I have had on more than one occasion, people come up to me and ask me, how is this fella on this thing and he don't fit in? The real thing is he didn't fit into what people thought a mold should have been for someone who has access to media. And I think, and it's not that they didn't like him, but they wanted to force him into a suit that made them comfortable.
Hey, so true.
You know? So it's not a Damien, are you in there?
Yes, sir.
Hey brother. Yeah. So and I think a lot of the criticism that people would have of Sprang, it's not a dislike. Because I don't think anybody truly dislikes Sprang. To dislike Sprang, you have to overtly dislike yourself, you know. Because Sprang never talk about Sprang, you always talk about us. And sometimes when you see yourself and you see all the nonsense and the layers of false pride being stripped away and represented to you in its rawest form, what you're really begging Sprang to do is to put back on the clothes on it, you know. So they didn't want to identify it, and they didn't want someone to look like that side of them, that pure, untouched, unsullied side of them.
Unapologetic.
That's right. That's the word I'm hunting for. Absolutely unapologetic. And as I hug in the space, I go give you a quick joke. Years ago, I was doing a little project and I went to Sprang and I asked him, I tell him I need a couple of nation building calypsos. And I see 30 head and he watched me. He said, what is that? I said, nation building calypso. It's then I get a factory reset, you know. He said, boss, let me tell you something, eh? You have to build a nation and the Calypsonian will capture it in history for you. So don't start from the front when you're supposed to start from the back. And you see that reset, that lasts me and will last me a lifetime. So sometimes we need to just kind of slap the brakes on everything and really take an inward look. And I think then we'll start to appreciate, you know, our cultural selves. Yeah. So that's my little rant for the day.
Well, thanks. And I mean, the floor, again, I repeat and I emphasize, the floor is open that if anybody have, you know, I mean, there are some people I know who are in the room and they, you know, they're just soaking up all that happening and all that's being said. Again, messages on the side and people seem to be, you know, enjoying the contributions of all so far. And you know, it's really nice that you know, we could see people joining this, you know, in a way, and to deviate off of this a little bit, you know, this is one of the good things that COVID brings to us, you know. It gives us now the opportunity to explore this side of the technology. And for us to sit down and have meetings like this, you know? So we on just, as they would say, the new normal. The new normal. I just thought I would stick in and let me see if I could get this to do right here. And let's see if we could hear Dennis' voice a little bit. The nice thing is that, unlike, you know, people.
The name of the song?
The name. Unlike people who would have just been here and existed, for sure generations to come will know there was a gentleman whose name was Sprang. They may not know all the other names, They may not know the other sobriquet. They may not know that his name was Dennis Hall, but they will know about that term, Sprang. This is a clip from our live recording and the review.
And he mix it up and he carry the vial. He said, Doctor, in the Western Hemisphere, to Mount Hope. That is a serious song, and I want all of you to know that. However, anybody have visitors, tell them anything wrong with them, they could go to Mount Hope. Most modern computerized medical facility in the Western Hemisphere with medicine and so on towards the 21st century. And I know that because a partner went and he tell the doctor, I'm getting a in my heart every time I walk. We try to exercise and I get in a the doctor tell him, take this vial, put some urine, and in the morning come back. The man take the vial and he put urine, but he can't believe that the Mount Hope so good. So he put some urine from some from his wife, some from his son, some from his daughter. He collect some from his dog, and rain fall the night, so he collect some from the roof. And he mix it up and he carry the vial. He said, Doctor, urine, check me. And the doctor tell him, hey, what did you think? Long bag of light, thing come on here, paper. And he put the paper in front of him. He said, you have some fat under your heart. Watch how you're moving. You could get a heart attack and dead. And the doctor didn't tell him nothing again, but you know, he mix up a concoction. He smiled. He says, a quack. When he reached the door and opened it, the doctor say, Anne, your wife have a man? Your son like boys, your daughter pregnant. Your dog have mange. And three shit that galvanized over your kitchen roughing.
So good. Oh boy.
So, you know, even listening to that little clip, it just reminds me of one of the things that that about Sprang is his really, and as Jenny rightfully said, his way of storytelling, you know, and the use of onomatopoeias. That's the correct literal terminology for it, internet. I see Miss Bess is in here. Miss Bess, good evening. And I don't think, I mean, your name can't be Tora Bess and you just come and sit down quiet inside. Right? But you know, he will explain how the paper tear, the song the paper make, the machine, and more, you know, it really gives you lessons in how you do, and actually it speaks to us as a people. This is a time that we really need to just check ourselves as a people. Let me see if I can dig up some more voice. Anybody could jump in and say anything. Again, this is an open forum. All my quicks done, but this is a quicksand. This is a quicksand cheese paste session. Those who so inclined to drink coffee will go. No, these days, what you're getting in week? Cricks is how much? $150 something a tin. It's easy to carry bread, I think. So now, like, people just give sandwich. I don't know. Long time I ain't go a week. But I don't know. But long time as a child, I can remember going week, and you just smell the coffee when you reach. Now, a wake set up in such a way that it is have people coming to sing and thing early. They come in to greet and treat with the family, and it has some women just reach and land in your house. You ain't know the woman, but they start to straighten up the house. They pull up broom, they start to cobweb, they wash all your wares. It has some women like that, right? You know them, but they started clean, they put away the house and everything. And then you have some people like I think we used to wake late for spite. And we used to just reach when coffee brewing and biscuit and cheese paste share. And as a child, I always look forward to sometimes people watching your cookie eye because you know you can't take more than three biscuit or 2 biscuit. But as little children, you're in the wake and you're just there for biscuit. So I see somebody just message me on the side and tell me, well, these days, like you're getting food, it's easier to buy a pack of rice and make a. I don't.
Now, Marcus, if I could say something.
Please.
Yeah, Emil's here.
Yeah.
And for all those who here, good night, welcome. One of the things that the philosophies that sprang basically left me with is that he say me is let me teach you a philosophy in life. I say yes, sprang was that he say me is stupid people don't know that they're stupid. Stupid people don't know that they're stupid. And I just want the interpretation of that from those who on the chat here. What do you all think he meant by that particular piece of philosophy that he gave to me when he said me is stupid people don't know that they're stupid.
I see you leave it.
Good night.
Yeah,
Good night. Yes, good night all. I think he was basically saying, in my interpretation, that we have to not all the time you need to argue. There are certain arguments you don't need to get into. And not all the time you need to prove that you're right. And that speaks to the man himself, his humility. So I think that's where he was coming from.
Thanks, man, Keith. But no, but Dotish people, you could beat your head on a wall. That's some people all they have to do when you hear them talk and say, okay, you know. When you hear them talk, that's all you can say, okay. Okay. You know they're talking stupidness, you know, but okay.
Oh boy.
But Terence, as a member of the Calypso Review, what to, you know, share a little more on Terence about your experience, your interaction.
Well, as most people you saw always refer to Sprang along, they refer to him as the walking encyclopedia. And I think a lot of people after some time forgot the fact that he was a lecturer and that his knowledge base was really great, and he was a man where you call immersed in the culture. You know, so to sit down and have a conversation with Sprang is like sitting down talking to Google, right? And basically you could ask any questions, and what amazed me with Sprang a lot was the recollection, where he could quote for you what year, which part, exact names, the whole 9 yards, as though he was reading it from a book right in front of you there. You know, and it was nice to feel like you're around greatness, you're around somebody who know the history, who have the knowledge, who you couldn't challenge him when it comes to the knowledge at all, because he was real spot on with that. And yet still, that is the same man who would rip it to shreds with picong, with satire, with jokes, you know. That kind of level of intellect that he had for me was phenomenal.
You know, Terrence, you said something there. And you see, for those 2 or 3 years sitting down backstage, I think in every different space, I would have seen a different side of Sprang Along. And when I say in different space, there was, yes, that knowledge base, the one that I was macroing in mass camp. Then there was radio, so we used to talk music and he would give perspectives on songs and different things. And I saw the humble gentleman backstage at Calypso Review. And when I say that, because Terrence, you now said something there. Just as how Sprang Along this give information, he is also open to receive. He was very open to receive. A couple of times he would call, what year this, I don't know. I mean, I know sometimes people just do that maybe to, and I guess people just groom you in different ways, eh? But he would sometimes call me, hey, what year Spoiler sing whatsoever song? And slowly I start to be able to answer him. He say, you're sure, boy? And you know, we would have a tit for a back and forth when it comes to things like that. And I also saw, I think, I don't know if it's a nervous side. I don't want to say a nervous or maybe dislikes. In the Calypso tent for this year would have been my 4th season at Review. So from the very first time I come, he sent me on stage to introduce, or when the show starts. So Terrence, that's how I would have been introducing you all the time. Now it was nice or easy to introduce you because of the history that we have. Yeah, Holy Cross, old boy, we work together, everything, right? But here it is. I used to ask Sprang, I say, why? He say, you know, I don't like that. As he say, but I don't know what to say.
Gerard Akeem, how are you? Huh? You good? You had a good day?
Right? He just say, I don't know what to say. I say, I mean, you don't know what to say. I say, you Sprang Along, you had this thing. He said, no, for all the years. He said, I never like opening. Wendell, he used to send you out to open the show too?
Well, he and I never worked at the tent at the same time, you know.
All right.
Yeah, when I joined, I became what, 3rd generation review MC, because you had Sprang, then you had CG, and then you had me.
Okay.
Yeah, and after I did about 5 years at Review, and then Sprang came back.
Okay.
You know, and somewhere along that journey, then they lost Super Lou, because Super Lou and I worked together for the 5-year period. So Sprang came back, I left, and when Super Lou passed, then you came into the mix.
I would have come on the heels of CG, I guess. When CG passed.
That means that CG would have come back to the tent after I had left.
Okay.
If that's the case, yeah. But you're right, you know. Sprang he never particularly liked starting shows. There were certain fellas in the business who we felt, you know, were best suited. Not that he wasn't, eh? Not that he wasn't. But he felt that, I mean, as an MC, Errol, Tommy, fellas would go and warm up the crowd. So you find, as a matter of fact, that's how I ended up opening at Calypso Fiesta for all these years. So I think that's the parallel to the tent experience, because I would have met Sprang in that Skinner Park setting. As a matter of fact, he was one of the first people to get there. So I would meet him there.
Yeah, he don't play. He would reach early and
early, take a spot, and
yeah.
he backstage, and it evolved into I would go and report to Sprang. And then he say, well, right, that's the program, thing. You work in the first half, so. And as he started having his health challenges, I technically took the role. So the MCs at the park now, when they reach the first person looking for a showman than me.
Right.
You know, so but there was always that dynamic with him. But I think it was always a teaching moment too, eh?
Yeah. And again, the more people and the more we into this moment, I hearing it and I seeing it, because indeed you're correct, because and it's not just the conventional teaching, is that he grooming you. He took the time to groom you into the thing. So he would come and he say, you check the list, you see who's singing. And I mean, I would reach, and Dennis always in the tent. Dennis always there early. As you say, the time the health challenges where we had the cane, he sit down, and by the time the nuts man reach, he get a pack of nuts, and he sit down there and he position himself. What was always interesting too is to see people come up to him. It's like, hey, he sprang along. He would say, oi. And answer as if, well, I don't know who called me, but all right, you call me, so all right. He said, you good? Then he goes turn around and say, who's that? Who is she? Who is she? Where is she from? Who is she concerned? Tell me you know she, but I answer she. You know? And again, in a moment like this, is so remarkable that you maybe always never realize somebody have that influence on you. But like now, I hear in his voice all the time. I keep hearing his voice. I hear in some of the stupidness we would sit down backstage, and Dennis again was just always the keen observer. We would sit down and laugh at the simplest things. And it's just that I think naturally he was just an observer, and he would laugh at we would watch people shoot. We would watch people heal. We would watch, well, all right, sometimes, you know, if a dress mismatch. You know, there was one time he would even sit down and listen to the percussionist. And he said, listen for the talk, eh? I said, what? The listen for the what? And the percussionist, you hear him going tiki 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 talk tiki 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 talk tiki tiki, and that would have been the rhythmic pattern. And Dennis would just sit down and listen to he said, listen to the talk. And you know, so it's just like he picking out the littlest thing. We when Massive Go sign had,
you know, Marcus.
Yeah. Yeah, Wendell.
Yeah, someone had asked me in an interview. Someone had asked me in an interview today, what was a memory that stood out? And here now, it crashed my whole senses, you know, because everything started flooding back.
Yeah.
And you know, sitting down talking about the observation. I remember we did a show in St. Martin a number of years ago. And the promoter at the time, He say he ain't taking the pressure to feed nobody. So you take your per diem, he tell you, this is the number you call if you want a car. And you stand up outside the hotel and point. He say, that stretch, have food. So take your money and sort out your business. And one day, Sprang and I walking down the road looking for food. So we in St. Martin. Sprang say, if you're looking here, when I watch, is this clothing place? And Sprang spot, you know, he like the little floral shirts.
Yeah, the Hawaiian shirt.
Yes. You see one of them boys hang up on a rack for $5. He said, nah, he ain't letting that pass. So we go on in the store. Jeans, $5. Shirt, $5. Sprang by 4 shirts, a pair of jeans. I buy about 4 jersey, everything $5 and less. So we now walking further down because we still have to get something to eat. Sprang ball 8 here, watch here. A liquor store. All liquor $5. I'm talking about bottles of Absolute vodka, scotch. We clean forget food and buy a set of liquor and going back to the hotel. So we walking up the road and the bottle going clicking, 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 clicking. Sprang now say, but you know, 2 of we is too kind of club. We have a show tonight. What we doing with all this liquor? We ain't buy food yet, All right, show come, show go on. Time to come back to Trinidad. I say, Sprang, they go jam we in Piaco, you know. He said, jam we in Piaco. He had me 2 of the $5 shirt to wrap the bottle of liquor to hide it in the suitcase. He said, when you reach Piaco, make sure I buy a bottle in duty free. So we buy the bottle in duty free. Nobody ask a question, what is the suitcase? See, me and Sprang, after midnight we reach back, dragging 2 suitcases slow to come out of Piaco because we're afraid the bottle will make noise in the bag. We start up outside and you talk about laugh. You talk about laugh. 2 of us promised never in life again because he was so unaccustomed to getting an unfair edge. So you know these stories, these things, these moments just keep popping up, popping up, popping up. You know, and you're right. When you said is preparing. He had a saying, he said it more than once, and I'm sure he said it to more than people who were just around him at the time. You say, when the time comes, you have to dead, you have to make space.
Yeah.
I say, what do you mean make space? You say, well, if you stay all the time and forever, it ain't got room for nobody else. You say, when it's my time to go, let me dead. I'm talking about a statement he made close to 20 years ago, you know.
And he would always say that. And even listening tonight, I got a little piece of the WAC interview, and I just putting it out there, and I unapologetically I would advertise for WAC, but I'll go on WAC YouTube page. Kenny had a nice little interview with Dennis, and this Damien, you said it sometime last week.
He did that about around July, around there, so.
All right.
Yeah.
And Dennis' statement that stood out is that let me enjoy the little time I have remaining, you know.
Yep.
He had this approach to seriousness. And when I say an approach to seriousness, I don't know, and Wendell, you may be able to speak on this too. I don't know if he went or how he treated with his brother's passing. But when I spoke to him, it was as if, well, boy, you know, we have to go, you know. And as if, well, me and morally much up with that. You know?
Boy, I would tell you something. It hit him hard, eh? And I think he treated it in a particular way, not for himself, but for those around him.
Right.
And in the context of the whole COVID and restrictions and everything, um, I have a little more information that I don't think I am at liberty to say.
Well, right. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, and if I ever share that story is with the blessings of his wife.
Right.
But there was a lot of people passed during the last few months, and he wasn't immune to that.
Right.
And Tony being a significant blow, because during his first bout of challenges, Tony was there. Stride for stride, you know, Tony was there. There was no inclination, there was no suggestion. And he went through this process where he lost his brother, and a couple people since. And a lot of that impacted specifically in the last 2 weeks. But like I said, I'm not at liberty to go into too much detail, and I don't want to give myself that liberty of saying, you know, that I have more information than I should share.
Right.
But it did impact him. It did impact him. But over the last 2 to 3 years, I think he managed to kind of relax the Sprang-a-lang persona, and he shared a little more of the Dennis persona.
Right.
You know, and although largely in terms of the individual, what you see is what you get, he was a little protective of Dennis and the vulnerabilities of Dennis. And I think as he got down, he was a little more willing to share that with everybody else.
All right. All right. Yeah, indeed. I saw that. And even I remember once, well, I always going through some banker or something. I remember once we in a studio, I can't remember if it was Radio Trinbago's studio or if it was Wax studio. But I in my fields, according to the young people. And I said, Dennis, I say, you ever get married? You ever, how you just treat, what going on? And something I brought up about marriage. He said, I get married once, you know. He said, we went in the church, and he said, I tell my wife, this thing had to finish by 6 o'clock. Reception and everything. I said, well, so weird. I said, why you do that? He said, I had Best Village that night, you know. Dennis, you know, so according to him, he got married and then gone Best Village in night, you know.
Yeah, he was a song man. It was a show in the bowl.
I say, how the woman? He say she lived long, but he say I had to go.
You know, Marcus, he always said, and I mean, this is something he put out in the public domain. He said one thing he got absolutely wrong was marriage.
Yeah.
He said, nobody didn't tell him. you know, he said nobody didn't tell him. You see, he got that absolutely wrong. He also spoke about fatherhood as something that he also got wrong. And again, I could say that because that has been placed in the public domain by him, you know. But it's very interesting. He was, and again, Damien's word coming back, he was unapologetic when it came to culture. Even at the expense of his wedding day.
Yeah, he talked about that, you know. And you know, the thing is, and this is the side of the man that, like how we speak in here, that, you know, the general public may not have known because of that, without having that intimate one-on-one with him. But the thing is, as Ms. Rouse mentioned, when you listen, and even within the last day or two, looking at some of his sketches, indeed, Dennis wasn't making joke. You know, Dennis was talking franco and truth about even his own life, and people giggling and laughing, and you know, Miss Rouse,
Marcus,
yeah.
yeah, I was sharing this on Talk City earlier with Short Pants, because they had a tribute tonight, and incidentally they're having one tomorrow on the show as well. There's something that he said, and I think that he made that statement. The first time I heard him make that statement was on the show with Wendell, Larry Lumsden, and Khadijah. That was on Power 102. So it's a couple of years already. He said, I'm not a comedian, you know. I just be saying serious thing, and all you find it funny. Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah, you heard it, right? Yeah. And you see, he used to say a lot of things, and it used to fly over people's head, and people laughing. And sometimes when you're going home from 10th or wherever, you say, wait, boy, there's a piece of sense that man talk there, you know. I may give you a joke, and as when the TN on among us, I'll give you a little joke, because I used to be listening to the show when I coming home with my son and so on. So I thinking, well, he on his own beat, and he ain't listening, and he ain't paying attention to the show and thing. And something we fall out for someday. And hear what you will tell me. But daddy, that story missing people. Well, all vexation going on, because you know that was something that Sprang used to say often, right? And I say, well, you really used to be listening to ECI, used to be listening to this show, and I mean, boy, so much things I could say, so much things I could say, but Dennis said so many things. Even when we were celebrating the 50th 50th uh, 50th anniversary of independence. He said, wait, does we really celebrated? The 50th year of independence or 50 years of independence? Now that sounds like a simple statement, eh? But you know how deep that statement is? He was a thinker, boy. He was a real thinker. But as persons like you and Wendell, I get the sense as someone listening to the radio, I wasn't close to him, that he wasn't sometimes comfortable with getting getting compliments, because like people will call and compliment him on something, and he had a favorite thing he used to say, on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago, I accept. Like he used to deflect compliments. Is it that he was I'm trading it to you all. Is it that he was to some extent uncomfortable with plaudits?
Wendell, you want to take this? I mean, my simple answer, I think, is just a level of him being modest. Damien?
I think, as you always say, though, he never wanted that. He never wanted that frontline, everybody knowing him kind of thing. He wanted to believe in what he's doing, and was just doing it for that love. So he never wanted that thing at all. So it used to reflect in sometimes how he would answer people, how he would react to people. He was never snobbish to people, but he would just answer you blunt sometimes. Like, yeah, boy, yeah, my child. And he gone. Because that was his persona for it.
You know, Sprang's perception of what he did was that everybody could do it.
Yep.
He would tell you that the place that he got his material from, it exists. He always said that, he used to say, I never create nothing. Always used to say that. He would recount history and someone would call and say, you're a real historian. Then he would turn around and tell you, but it in 10 calypso. Almost to suggest that if you did listen, you'd have find it too.
Yeah.
So although he had a unique talent and was blessed in a particular way to interpret a circumstance, and he himself had that skill of fine-tuning and honing his language and crafting his language as only he could. He never saw it as something that anybody should celebrate. So therefore, you're right, the plaudits became a little uncomfortable. And on top of that, and I think this is the more important part of it, he never wanted to allow himself to be consumed by that. So you always kept it at bay.
So as we continuing, folks, we doing this one for Sprang. We are no sponsors. This is no formal nothing. This is just people coming together and throwing in the 2 cents. There are some.
We are unsullied by sponsorship.
But you know, with the new normal, just now I go get. Now my plan was to say let me take a drink and raise a glass, but if somebody give me a glass to raise, I go raise something. That is the direction things going now. But in just a couple of minutes, or not in a couple of minutes, let's take a 3 minutes listening to Dennis or to Sprang's voice one more time. And I know plenty of people will be listening on all the different collections. These are just a few that, as Wendell, as you two would have said, it's out there, it's in the public domain. So only we listening and let Sprang.
Very nice. You all should be in Trinidad now. The weather is the same. The stupidity is the same. All things being equal, even after elections, stupidity will remain as normal. And we want to tell people that if you have family in Trinidad, ring them and tell them vote, because in an election, especially in Trinidad, if you do not vote and somebody who you didn't like win, you go sorry that you didn't vote. If, however, you didn't vote and who you did like lost, you also go sorry you didn't vote. If, however, you do vote and who you like win or lost, it then go make no difference, it's pressure. Because in Trinidad, the election decides if you're going to take 5 more years suffering or if you're going to suffer for 5 more years. So we are ready, willing, and able to take pressure. But certain things that they're letting go in Trinidad, the flinging on we is a problem. First to begin, we have a problem with cable. 64 channels of audio does not help Trinidad at all, because at least 63 cables of audio and have nothing to do with we. The other problem is we don't mind the program because we know it's lie, and straight-nosed people will always lie. But the problem is the advertisement, and Trinidadians believe in advertisement and we could get in trouble. And there are 2 advertisements right now that giving me pressure in Trinidad. The first one is a drug called Meridia. Now, with Meridia, we ain't sure what it's for. However, if you have certain things, you can't take it. if you have arthritis, osteoporosis, sinusitis, bleeding gums, loss of memory, hearing problem, dry skin, cracking skin, oversized navel, yeast infection, you can't take it. However, if you don't have those things and you take it, these are the side effects: running nose, swollen ankles and joints. And at the end of about 9 things where you can't take it, if you have those things, and if you didn't have that, you could take it, but it have 8 things you could get. It have a woman that come and say, I'm ready. She could be ready to death, but don't give it, don't. The other thing is a thing called Rogaine. All you know Rogaine. Only 3 weeks ago, I find out Rogaine does grow here. However, with Rogaine, if you take Rogaine, the side effects are serious back pain, loss of memory, a hint of Alzheimer's. You could explain to me what I with an afro being bedridden and can't go nowhere. Why go help me?
So we just do a little something to remember. Damien, I have something for you too, yes? I have something for you too.
Parang, parang.
I have something for you too.
There we go.
Can't good at all. All. I like how they're marking up this step. Look how they're coming. Led by the gang of Locho's boys. Nothing. I'm moving like Senel them stuff, but nothing for you. Led by Damien. The immortal Locho. If the Francis Drake was Pirate Supreme, Damien Melville is Locho Supreme. Nothing could help them, but the moment when the correct man, the thing with him is that he don't want to drink all, he gonna have fight. He gonna have fight. It's gonna have fight. Where's the line, Damien? My father name was Louse, my name is Lousy. They go, they come in and they start kind of ready. They say they go in here first. And they reach time that they practice it all. All right. Let me see now. Let's go. Who taking scotch? Who taking rum? Who haven't beer? I'm all about to get all this before the man start because it might not on for you. Sucks belly. All right, we got the lineup. We have a lineup here. Scotch, rum, take your spot off with coconut tree. Bring this monkey to confusion. Leave those are for decent people. Leave me coconut. Tell you little monkey boy come off the coconut tree. Now you could get 2 kinds of coconut. You could get a Chinese coconut water or you could get a Chinese coconut water. It have a Chinese coconut water tree in my yard, but you have to go by my Chinese neighbor to get coconut from tea tree.
No, I cut this out because I don't want people to say that the copyright is used. But Damien, as you're inside here, what was the experience like recording this piece of music?
But that was real fun though. That was I think the whole station or staff was down at the studio and that just happened, you know. And not like anybody write anything, that just go in the studio, music play and offload it.
No, but you know, again, and if somebody should stop and try to analyze his humor, even from the clip that I played before, and this, you're seeing his sense of observation, you know. And somebody mentioned it before. And here it is, even that line about the Chinese coconut water, or you could get a Chinese coconut water, you know. And I think those were some of his pivotal in terms of trying, if we have to try to analyze his style of humor, you know, and I guess this is who we are as a people, because this is what we just laugh at on a normal basis. You know, this is what we would laugh at on a normal basis. On a day-to-day, you and your friend talking, them is the thing you just laugh at. Now, even teaching children in school, them is the thing that a class, I teach in a class, good the other day, well, not the other day, some time back. And I telling them about how to play recorder, and I talking about fingering. Well, the whole class, I and all get like what they laughing at. And I just talking about how to put your hands on the hole in the recorder, you know, and them children going on a different level. But this is who we are. So Locho Supreme. Last night we attempted to do something similar to this too. And Spicy passed through. I'm surprised that she's not in tonight yet. But Spicy passed through, and she was explaining that she did backup for and you know, she and Susie, who were the backup singer, and like as soon as she said that, it's like suddenly you start to hear a Spicy voice in the chorus, you know. To Miss Hetty Sargent, thanks for your compliment. It's good that you're here, and I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. I hope people enjoying the little time again, and you know, maybe if you're drinking something, you're eating something. And I went and see what the children had to eat. And interestingly, in as much as we in a Zoom meeting, how ironic, the only thing I could find to eat is Zoomers. But I think we are advertising for nobody again, for free. Again, the floor is open to anybody who wish to make any contributions, memory, questions, maybe just a comment. The floor is open, as well as if it is that you're feeling Zoom shy, you can go in the comment section and you could type in your comments, and I could respond to that on YouTube as well. All I know, we're streaming on YouTube, right? So on YouTube, if anybody listening on YouTube, you can comment in the live comment section, and I will see it and be able to address it. So, you know, we're looking for the feedback. We're being interactive. I see in 1 or 2 cameras up and on, and it's nice to know that people just rock back, taking it in. So Mary, I like how you just rock back and taking in all the session and all the talk we're talking. Well, June, I guess June is a fan. I only seeing she fan up. Whoever June might be. Good evening, Michelle and Twineman Millard. We see in your comment. I'm glad you take the opportunity to jump in there. Again, any comment, I have some, and if we should really use, and well, again, Michelle, thanks for coming. Thanks for spending the time with us. I don't know, I may do this 1 or 2 other nights, and we will just, you know, try to strategically get some people inside here. Again, the intent of this session is not to make it a lecture. this by no means is a lecture. It's not a. This is we just sit down vibes and kind of thing. Some people just listening while they're doing what they're doing. I just plain boldface, and I guess this whole business and this industry is about people being boldface, right? Good evening, Joan. That's a nice face, not just a bold.
Hi, good evening.
Good
Okay,
evening.
my neighbor gave me the link. So I am Joanne Williams. I'm Joanne Williams Schmidhammer. And I met Sprang when I worked after university for Banyan TV, when the first Gael TV shows were produced. I was something like a production assistant or something. And I think this is when the national community first got to know Sprang, because that is the late 80s. He could have been doing a lot of stuff before that. I could be quite incorrect. But that was when he was doing the question. And he would say, give me your answer and you'll get a jersey. And it was a Gael jersey. I think it was a red on white. But he was such a beautiful person. And I just wanted to say, we lost touch. He wasn't a person who would, to me, would take you in right away. But at times when I met him after, it was like, oh my gosh, you know, we just went back so far. I know he had been ailing, so I just want to offer my words of respect. Now, I run a small community paper. It used to be printed, but now it's on Facebook called Curep Roundabout. We have made our tributes, and I will end tonight by saying, in cognizance of the fact that Dennis has joined his brother Tony, I'm calling in my little tribute on the Curep Roundabout on Facebook. I've called them the Halls of Excellence. So we loved him, we'll miss him. Like Selvon did with literature, when he used the local language, the patois, the Creole, so also Sprang included so many simple details of our Trinbago existence into his very serious work, you know. So thanks to Gael also that did a tribute, and thanks to you for having this Zoom meeting. This is my first ever Zoom meeting, by the way.
Oh, really? Welcome to the life of Zoom.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to go. I'm not even sure how to get off. What do I do to come off now?
Hit end or leave.
End.
Which one you would see?
I'm just seeing live. I'm not seeing leave.
You should. Which device
I could see mute. I could do mute.
If you mute, we just wouldn't hear you, but we will see you and you will be able to hear us.
Oh, I need to end then my contribution and allow other people to come in.
No,
I'm not sure how to end it. Oh, I'm seeing leave. I'm seeing leave at the top.
Okay, good.
Oh no, that's leave the meeting. I don't want to leave the meeting.
Right. So if you mute, you will just be muted. You will be hearing all the other contributions.
Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah. Thanks, Joanne. So always, I mean, it's as simple and easy as that. And again, thanks, Joanne, for your contribution. And so many others. I see one or two people utilize the chat facility. And yeah, so if now initially I said that we were going till 12. I don't know if we have enough energy to go till 12.
You have it.
Huh?
You have the energy, don't worry.
Finally. Mr. Toussaint, give us some.
Yes, Marcus.
Yes.
Marcus, there's a similarity in voice between you and Makesi, you know. I don't know if anybody ever told you that. Yeah, there's a similarity. I don't know if it's the M in the first name that causes it. I don't know if it's the UTT ground that you all have walked on. I was very indecisive about who I really should say something about tonight. So I decided I shouldn't really say much because I don't know if to talk about Sprangalang, the MC. I don't know if to talk about Sprangalang, the singer. I don't need to talk about Sprangalang, the radio announcer. I don't need to talk about Dennis Hall, the historian. You know, it's so much in that little mix. So I might just take a line from Rhoda that Rhoda used when Malcolm Marshall passed and say, farewell, great warrior. We thank Sprang. I pray that we could formulate something that is about an hour long that the young people could get to sit down and look at Sprang Along, coming out of the box cultural Sprang Along, you know. I know just now Joanne was getting problems to pronounce it, but it was a Josie, you know. It wasn't a Jersey, it was a Josie, you know. So I think that really we should do something that young people could get to know Dennis by, because they won't know about Dennis. They might see Dennis a short 3 minutes or 5 minutes of Dennis somewhere and don't understand the depth of the man and the contribution of the man. So I think that good people like you could sit down, pull a team together and put together something on Sprang. At least get it showing first on local TV and then spread it to YouTube or whatever. So that's all I would really choose to say on the man. The man was simply brilliant, unbelievable. One of the best days for me and Dennis was when he was at 102 and he get that break for news, or when the program over, we could spend a half an hour talking and I could learn a lot from him. So I would say to Susie, stay strong, God is great. And Marcus, I know that you're going to do something nice for Dennis. I'm confident of that. Take care, God bless.
Thanks very much, Lennox. You know, so much, and I think every time somebody speak, you know, just the little memories that being tickled. Every time that, you know, somebody will tickle a memory, and as I said in the early, I don't know if I would say that, you know, people's passing and death is something that I think, I mean, it didn't come too close to home. I lost my grandmother in January of this year, but you know, it's something that I don't know if it's that I'm prepared to accept, because we all must go at one point in time. And I think I live by that. You must be able to tell people while they're here and not just post, because yes, it's nice that we're doing this, and you know, I felt moved and compelled for us to do something like this. But I think all that I had to tell Dennis, I would have told him upfront. I would have told him that, you know, I told him thanks. I know, I told him I like, and you know, as a matter of fact, he would have told me to come for music, and I never reached. And I had to say I'm living to regret that now, because you know it could be funny to go and ask Susie for the music now, you know. But you know, I really wish that I would have gone, because he would always say, "Come and let me sit down and go through some music now, boy. Come now, let me go through some music now, boy." But you know what we just do? We just say, "I ain't have time. I'm busy." We could do that sometime, and then sometime, and then sometime, and so maybe this is just another marker in life that we should really always do what we need to do when we can do it, because when we can't, it will be too late, you know. So
Marcus, it was remiss of me not to congratulate you on the fine job that you're doing tonight. I see you had two young men there, Damian Melville and Wendell Etienne. When I see you personally, I'll tell you about those two.
Where's that on, man?
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad he forced my hand. I was quietly waiting, but I'm glad he forced my hand. No, I remember.
Out open story jump out. Let me hear it.
I remember hearing Mr. Tusa saying that, you know, at the news break, all the conversations that would have been had once the news was read. But he forget a part of the story, that he was presiding over us When Sprang get banned from the studio when news going on because he used to make whoever reading the news laugh. So it's under Lennox, Sprang get banned from sitting down in the room while it's news reading. So everybody had to come outside. Yeah, those days, the hour leading up to the top of the newscast, Sprang is saying nothing. He's sitting down opposite whoever reading the news. And why is that person reading the news? Sprang's expressions, more often than not, we had to switch off the mic so they could get out a laugh and then continue reading the news. That ultimately led to everybody getting banned when it's news time. But we have to also equally acknowledge Power 102, because I could say without fear of contradiction, Sprang, myself, Clifford Lehman, also called Spawn, Richard Raghubar Singh in the morning, Donna Haddad passed through. In the earlys, Just Jace. I think Just Jace was the first person to partner with Sprang to work on that shift. Power 102 allowed all of us, individually and collectively, to be and remain our true selves whilst broadcasting to everybody. So we have to say and acknowledge media houses like that. The landscape has changed. Now we have WAC doing human service. We have Gael. There are moments on TTT, but in terms of a frequency that is truly committed to us and not committed to us, and you heard it in Sprang piece, how much channel are all you? It had nothing to do with we. We have to acknowledge those frequencies that are committed to us. And WAC certainly, and Gael certainly leading that charge. So we have to acknowledge them and the platform that they have created.
Thanks, Wendell. So again, I mean, you know, usually in wake and drink, again, if we, well, country people wake and city people wake, there's be two different wake. I a country boy. And so again, in my mind, I seen people whining and sweating and all kind of thing, and drum playing. So I don't know if anybody want to do a drumology, are they welcome to do so. If anybody feel that they want to move a song, you could lift your voice, lift every voice and sing, do your thing. If somebody want, I have a guitar somewhere right here close by. If you want to sing, you could sing. But again, this is just how we doing this. I saw Maria come in. Is Maria still here? Maria, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Marcus. Good evening, everyone.
And Maria, thanks for coming. I'm sorry, I thought you would have seen, and I really meant to send you that invite since earlier, so that you probably.
Yeah, I only just saw it because I just came out of a session.
Okay.
But I say let me just check in quickly and see what's happening. So we having a week here. That's what's going on.
Well, yeah, but the only thing with this week, you have to walk with your own cricks and cheese space.
Right. Okay. Understood.
And your coffee, if that is what you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the invite. Appreciated.
But Maria, seeing that you're here, and I mean, you being a calypso queen, a calypsonian, a songwriter, somebody into the arts, and what would have been, I putting you on the spot a little bit, because
Okay.
with Maria, and you know, I could do you them kind of thing.
Yeah. A wicked bad boy.
What would have been your interaction, if any, with Sprang?
I would not have had many personal interactions with him. I was always a fan. Always. I would love when he's the MC in a particular show or something, or just being part of a dramatic presentation. I mean, you could always expect relticles from Sprang, you know. My personal interaction with him would mainly be at, I think, was you review, yeah, when he would MC for review and stuff, and you know, I'll get a little pecan. Um, this man is, oh wow, you know, it's like sometimes I feel so overwhelmed in terms of, you know, what could you really say about him. I would have that discussion with friends and with relatives from time to time, and it would always be, you know, this wealth of knowledge. I mean, in all the old talk, you know, people would always say, yeah, what he get real old talk and thing, but the knowledge, even when I listen to some of the songs that he would have recorded, there's so many underlying things in there that if you don't really catch on to it, so much wisdom and thing in little things that he would say, you know, very, very, very intelligent, but always so down to earth, you know. Anybody could talk to Sprang. And I just always love that about him. So approachable and just like a big teddy bear. I I really loved his presence. Really, really loved his presence, and it hit me hard when I saw the I got the information through a post. So I just kind of was scrolling through Facebook, and I was like, what? So it's a hard blow. It really is a hard blow. It's a tremendous loss for Trinidad and Tobago and the world. Just today, I saw Roma Spencer. I didn't even know Sprang Lang and Rachel Price appeared in some sitcom in Canada. And I said, what is this? There's so much that I have to go now and research, you know, in terms of all that he would have done, all that he would have participated in. I know it would not have just been Trinidad and Tobago, you know. And it's just sad. It really is sad.
Thanks very much, Maria. I mean, and I mean, Maria came in a little late, and again, that same sentiment being echoed. And you know, we could go on, and it will be always the same. I guess we're talking about the one person and the one person being that one person all the time and everywhere. You know, again, just tickling up the music and giving us something to listen. I thought I would just play this song at this time, as it's now 11 p.m. We are one more while we're going down to the button, man. Let me see how we're doing this.
Every year somebody did give us cause to shed a tear and mourn, for they are gone. Now all that's left is a faint memory based on the theme of a strange melody. Still, we must think of them and recall their image with pride, telling people from deep inside. Dedicated to those who died. Teresa Montano, I'll always remember. Jumping when I see band pass, playing just for you. I come out with real fire this year. Each and every one I know, some good they will have to go right back from where they came. But to the back, we must try understand, not to be sad or you stone on their name. And every girl and boy who are sharing my sympathies, I must tell you this song is just dedicated to memories. Lady Beulah, I'll always remember. Jumping when I see and pass, playing mass, sugary, peppery, she was never ever one for class. Lady Beulah, wherever you are, I'm there just for you. I come out with real fire this year. How many have known a friend? They must come to the end. How many have known a friend? They must come to the end. How many have known a friend? They must come to the end. I will be there now and then. I will say to the one who has long passed away. So for this kind of vibe, when you jump in and take a break, try and take in this song I made to remember for old time's sake. Tell her you said I'll always remember. Jumping when I sleep and pass. Playing mass, sugary, peppery, he was never ever one for class. Tell her you said wherever you are compared, just for you, I come out with real fire this year. Not pretender, I'll always remember. Jumping when I sleep and pass. Playing mass, sugary, peppery, he was never ever one for class. Not pretender, wherever you are compared, just for you, I come out with real fire this year, real fire this year.
Yes, so pull that one from the Signal Hill Alumni Choir, a little memories. You know. Let me say good evening to Miss Chulin, who listening to us via the YouTube link, and you know, appreciating the stuff that going on in here. So I'm seeing some contributions to of course, we could use the chat facility in Zoom as well. So Ali, we going for the last hour. So if we have much to say, we could share up some music and anybody else, you feel free to just put on your mic and jump in and make your contributions, and this is how we just do it. Like, it's a long time I really ain't go a week. Nobody all they drinking rum or anything. I don't know. Damian and Wendell in particular too. All they realize like I'm missing radio too, eh? I'm missing the platform, but with the new normal, you know, you could strike up a Zoom and do your stuff, you know, strike up a Zoom. And on that note, seeing that I could advertise here and advertising for myself. October is Calypso History Month. And I started last Thursday, the 1st of October. Thought I would do a series every Tuesday and Thursday. So some people said they would have gotten the link from somebody else, but you could check out well, either my Facebook page. I would put up the Zoom chat there, the link to get in the chat, or you could go to YouTube. Let me give you the page link on YouTube that or you could just look for me on YouTube, Marcus C. Batiste, and subscribe, and you will get the link and the stuff inside there. But yeah, so that join me on a Tuesday. Tuesday and Thursday, and that, you know, I'm trying to jump in with some little topics as best as I can and do it. This coming Tuesday, the topic is Calypso and the family. So that'll be the topic this Tuesday. Last Thursday, in the first installment, we took Calypso, the Calypso tent. So, you know, we'll sit down and discuss the thing as was said earlier, you know, I don't think being a griot have an age, because I will tell everybody, and if it is, I have to tell Miss Rose here that I want to be a griot, you know. I've always wanted to be a griot. Tessa, good evening and welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening and thanks. I just joined. I only just saw the link, so I was listening for the moment.
All right. And well, Tessa, what we're doing is just, you know, chit-chatting. You know, people had the opportunity to remember Sprang, tell their stories. But you could do the same, you know, if you have any contributions. But if not,
okay, yeah, I'll listen. I'll
okay.
just listening for the moment. Yes.
Okay, good.
All right, thanks.
Here am I. Yes, I'm ready to go. I'm gonna make a check for them. This one is for you, mommy. That's right. You're inside. Hold on. Yes. Hold on. Prepare the constituency. Even the parent change. Hey, watch this. Watch it, moral code. Start me up on life's road. Yes. Yes, deep down inside, she's filling me plenty pride. But the politician today, the mother cannot say that at all. They behave in such a way, the mother holding the head and ball, and ball, and ball, and ball, and ball, and ball. Oh, lady, she always sets on integrity. She puts down for honesty. She always focuses on righteousness instead of truth. She never stands for no foolishness. My good on education, always has for the direction. My mother could tell you, oh, she bring up since your boys and girls but pandy. The mother can't say that. Human right or human wrong? Why don't? No power of poverty. Rita. The mother can't say that.
All you know this song? All you know this Sprangalan song?
Yes, of course.
You know the beauty about listening music, sometimes you just hear a song that you say, either, you know, long I hear this, oh gosh, I never hear this one. So again, we just digging up some archives here, and we tickling our minds, and and our memories.
I would have to say that I enjoyed Sprang Lang ad-libs more than anything else in his songs. Is the ad-libs boy.
Yeah, he looked like the studio time was just lit.
Anything we always not to make it jail. Writing a song for next year, it have 1.2 million lines. So when all you're singing, it have people to lock up. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, let's say so. I never wanted to say nothing, but you see the thing with the police, the cocaine thing. That is a frightening thing, right? A police signing cocaine with an ex-police, and somebody take it and they put it in a place where only police could go. But the police investigated to see if a police take it. That funny? Something wrong with the soca beat there. I am here. It ain't no internal affairs, you know. They go lock up me. They can't lock me up, boy. I have diabetes. You know the Constitution? Portion 181, Section 2, verse 31 says, do not lock up anybody with diabetes. Me, there's not a whole, I know. I wasn't going to say nothing, but then I find out I have diabetes. I say, well, I like Jack, so I could always get him to be lovely, man. But I want to make that point clear about the police. I as a man, love the police. Somebody thief by me. The first person that's called the police. However, over the years, I learned that if somebody thief by you, I take stop and then call the police.
This is something familiar, right?
When you have a business and you do not audit it, take stop to see if anything missing. So when they thief, I take stop to see what's missing, but I also have a paper saying what it have. When the police leave, I take stop. It's not a personal thing, but it's not all the police. Most police is Trinidadian. Most bandit is Trinidad. I am not saying that most police is bandit or vice versa, but I'm just saying it ain't looking good. You understand what I'm saying? The police is a frightening batch of people. However, the news on the radio with this 31 station, they're running out of ways of presenting the news. So we don't know what to believe. Thursday evening news say a man was found with his head battered and they find a big stone 8 feet from his body, which also bore marks of violence. I have no idea what that means. I also have no idea when they tell me the Prime Minister said we must do without these luxurious items like food, clothes, and shelter. The Prime Minister is a veteran. But I never knew certain things in biology. The last news say a man was stabbed in the vicinity of the Gasparilla flyover 3 inches from his heart. And I look up an encyclopedia and I have no Gasparilla flyover 3 inches from my heart. So I on the real street with these mad people.
like the Calypsonian, like the performer, futuristic in speaking, or it's just that we have a tendency to repeat the same thing. Coincidentally talking about police thieving. And if we have any police in the room, good evening.
If we have any police in the room, I might be saying good night.
Nah, you're safe, man. You're safe. You're safe. We continuing, we just taking in a little bit. This was a
crank it. One day. Yes. But why all of your hand in the air like the whole of the party? Music, I can't wait. This is a normal carnival party for you to enjoy all this. This is not an aerobics class. But you just to free up and have a...
This is one of two songs that I know was a soca parang and then end up being a soca carnival song.
I have a problem with downtown. Listen, there's only two chords. I'm gonna hear one chord, but people are tired of you out. You'll be dancing the same way all the time. Gonna be pressure. Yeah, this is not a cause. This cause is the best. Even if you get be president, 2 quarts of wine, 2 quarts of grain, 2 quarts of horsey, 2 quarts of donkey. 2 beautiful cause. Just for you, just for you. I could have said it better myself. I'm telling you. Or if I don't take no direction from nobody, go to left or go to right, and you're lost. Now if I put that in the party to run down your car to look for your car keys, go for a drink and so on, because this used to be ruthless. This is not finishing. Just going the whole night. Take this book in your question. You have to know music. You two call it basic. Music in your question. To take you to heaven. In a birthday party. In a big fete. Just to make you happy. Just to make you sweat. Sweet and sober.
Aye.
That's right. That's right.
I know what.
More than ever, in all of Sprang Along performances or his recordings, you could hear that in the most natural state, the gentleman was just having fun. As if also, and he would have said it in one of his songs where he say, I am not a parang, and that the parang people did vex with him for doing the thing, but you know, is that he was just having fun. He was just having fun. So are we going down? So we ready to wrap up this session? And in the chat, in the Zoom chat, I did put up the link for my Tuesday session. You all are invited. Roxy B, even you. You all are invited to come in on Tuesday. Please God. You see, what happened is that maybe in the same line of, and I mean, Sprang Along always used to tell me I'm working too hard. You say I ain't working so hard like how you working. You would come in the studio after I doing a show. Clearly he would have been listening to the program coming down the road. And he would just come and tell me, hey, me working as hard as you working there, you know? Again, as I mentioned, it's like now it's as if you're just hearing all the little lines and all the little things that he would have said. Right? So that everybody, we, you know, other than just a performer, for me, this is a mentor, being or passing here, because more than ever, I think, you know, if I have to look back and give credit to people, you know, Damian Melville here, Wendell here, who I may consider more my colleagues. I could feel nice that I rub shoulder with them fella. Well, Wendell, we never really play pitch, but you know, to use the Trini term, Wendell and I pitch together. from long time.
I think pitch must be the only thing we didn't do.
Yeah, that may be the only thing we had done. Yeah. We play basketball. we do everything, you know. And you know, if I could, well, Dennis Sprang along Hall for sure would be one of those who would have, you know, helped pave the way, you know, put little things in place. Because you know, it's most interesting that all of us here are not who we are just simply by just deciding a day. All of us, I am sure, would have had people who contributed. And sometimes those contributions could be a negative contribution. Eh? Somebody might fire you and tell you, hey, you ain't good enough. And you may be wanting just to simply prove them wrong, go way beyond and you know, blossom into who you are now. And you know, out of this moment of somebody's passing, it always gives the reminder that we need to live life and be who we are and who we are meant to be. Reading Steve Harvey's book, Jump, you know, he asked, what's your gift? And a lot of people maybe not or have not recognized their gift. They may be in a profession, they may be in you know, well, a younger audience, maybe pursuing studies, but what's your gift? And you know, even if in this moment, in a reflective way, Dennis lived his gift. He had the gift to do just what he did. And everybody gift is their own gift. You know, Wendell, your gift is yours. Damian, your gift is, you know, everybody who remain in or here. You know, so I know, and I don't know if, yeah, well, you know, so that in moments like these, we just have to take stock and remember to live in what we have and what we do. Maybe times like now is just to maybe re-energize and remember what we have to do. And when you know, the more you read and the more you do stuff, you realize that it's not too late to maybe change paths. I mean, COVID come and force a lot of people to change paths and rethink. There are people who have to change gears. Some of us may not be directly or seriously affected, but we all are, you know, and I think more than ever in this moment, and the 19 people who in here would be my witness to say that I am reminded that I need to be that historian that I wanted to be, you know. And even if I cannot be, and I will never, and I never profess to be a Sprang along, but I will be me, you know. In that WAC interview, I heard he said something nice, and I feel all special. Kenny asked him if he misses the Calypso tent. He said no. He said no. He said he do his part and thing. And Kenny went on to hint that I would have been, and I really did miss him this year in the tent. Even if it meant that I would be the one always on stage, the role that he played backstage, and where we would sit, and just the way we would talk, and he would prime. Sometimes he might say, "Hey, stand by. Look, our man going and busting the third verse," you know. So I missed that. But his response to that question when Kenny threw it out to him is that, Marcus Abelman, and you know, more than ever, I feel now that I am able, you know, because I would have gotten the training. And this is my personal experience. And I guess to all of us who would have had that direct interaction with him, you know, it was indeed a life learning experience. Again, although tonight is not a night for a lecture for me to be hogging the mic, as you would say. We still have a couple minutes, or if not, we could just say good night and thanks for everybody coming. I don't know if anybody else would still have to say anything. Maybe one of those people who have been quiet listening all evening. It late people going, so you could say something now.
My name is Tessa Barry. I just want to thank whoever, I'm sorry I didn't come in earlier on, but I just want to thank whoever took the initiative for this chit chat tonight to sort of remember and talk about an icon. He has touched many of us, and as a Grenadian who has listened in on many of his contributions, I would like to express my condolences to his family. And again, congratulate the person who took the initiative to set up this chit chat tonight. And thanks to the person who sent me the link.
Thanks for coming, Tessa, all the way from Grenada. You see all the Zoom technology, nice or crazy singing. All you like Kaiso. If not, Damian, it still have what you want Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait now, is all that going on outside? Yeah, I'll go and listen. So Tessa, thank you very much. Thanks for coming, and thanks to whoever really sent you that link. Anybody else? There's no reason to be shy.
Marcus, I want to say thanks to you, you know.
Well, thanks for coming, thanks for accepting, because again, this is just an idea. You know, ideally, and you know, I really, more than ever, I realized that it's time we have discussions and things like this. I mean, WAC doing this stuff, WAC doing their stuff, and that contribution to the culture, and there are so many pockets of us who can. And I will continue on this point. And Dr. Rouse, I know now is not a time for the formalities, so I will revert to the Jenny, because it might be the only time I could get to call you Jenny comfortably. But Jenny, I see your hand.
Yes, I deliberately remain silent because, you know, you have to measure, just as you said, the energy it's an energy. And I remember, I hear you asking, almost imploring most of us to say something and speak. And I remember, my mind went back, you know, I listened to you on two counts. One, that we should be doing this more often because this is a positive that COVID brought about. And I remember now there are all the late CLR, the late, well, we still have Loveless. And he used to have a group of them, most of them QRC fellas, right? And they would all meet every year at a particular month, either at his house, not in a big space, just to talk. No particular, maybe sometimes they would have a team, but just to share the ideas that if they were to speak that in a public forum, is so much dissent and so many voices would kind of muddle it and contaminate it, that was their space. And I use the word space deliberately, not a place, but a space. And that space could be anywhere. It don't have to be any big, grand place. It's a space. And so I listened to you on that, trying to say why we can't do this more. And then on the other side of my head, I remembered the late jazz pianist, Randy Weston, who was phenomenal. And I met him through a friend of mine in Washington. And I remember Randy, I mean, he could have been my father almost. Yeah, could have been my father almost. And he, just as we are reaching out to this spirit force that is coming out from Sprang and his work, he went to Morocco to meet the elder through different referrals. And when finally he got to this place, which of course it was a dirt road and that was a journey by itself to reach to this man. And then he had to wait. He was just sitting waiting until the elder came out, and he waited. And I think almost an hour passed. And of course, being a Westerner is a totally different culture. And when the elder did come out to him, he never spoke. He greeted maybe with a signal, and he sat opposite him, maybe 6 feet away as we know it now, 6 degrees of separation. And he never spoke. And he sat there in silence with Randy Weston opposite for nearly 3 hours. Now, I hear you on the one hand saying we need to talk more and have these sessions. And I'm hearing on the other side, you're saying, well, like nobody wants to say anything, so we might as well close off. And it prompts another part of us forgetting. I remember Toni Morrison, that writer, saying we need to re-member. In other words, she didn't just say the word remember. We need to remember. In other words, reattach, reyoke to our soul force, which calls for the collective, yes, like we're doing at this time virtually. We may not even be aware of how far we're reaching with this, through YouTube and the whole technical world, but there's a collective. Then how do we understand our silence that one of our elders did with Randy Weston, who went there thinking he's going to learn something, to hear something, this man going to teach him something. And he really did, but with silence. Pure silence. And it gave us that chance, just as COVID is doing, to say, hey, bring it down, bring it down. We were going at a rate, pell-mell, to nowhere. Everything on fast speed. Everybody busy all of a sudden. You're forgetting the elders. Imagine how we could have elders in our society. In a family setting, they're not alone living, but they're lonely. Like a madness. And the worst kind of loneliness. And this is where Sprang used to come from, That's why he didn't speak long. You attested to it. He wouldn't say much. And, you know, just the presence of an elder, when we were in our tribes, we used to have to sit at their feet, just silence, just the presence. And so we have to somehow get back to that place where just staying quiet don't mean something wrong with us.
True.
You understand? It's just an honoring maybe, and Sprang would understand it. And then as I got up a little while ago and I smiled to myself when I said, boy, I could imagine when Sprang reconnect with Shadow, because Shadow was very close to his personality. Yeah? Remember, Shadow wasn't a big talker either. Right. And whatever he had to say, and I remember Bukaremi did the eulogy for Shadow. And a lot of it is like how Sprang operated. Well, he aligned him with Blake the poet, but they were off the cuff. Many people did not understand where they were coming from. And I look at this and I say now, if a child from somebody who is listening to us were to tell the parent now, if the parent asks them what you want to study, they say, I want to be like Sprang. I want to go and study what Sprang do. And the parents now looking at each other kind of like, Lord have mercy, you know? Because what's the degree? They have no degree. What's the course? They have no course. So, and because of the world we have made ourselves to be in, you would hear the parents tongue in cheek say, but you know, you have to eat. So you have to pay rent. Mm-hmm. And the money thing come in. In other words, subliminally saying, that ain't gonna make you rich, you know. So it's like once you say, I want to study this part of the arts to be a griot. I put the word griot because it's like almost a storyteller, but it's dealing with memory, not from a script. And I even remember our prime minister saying, when they were being trained in Bishop Tobago, as you growing up as not even a boy, because it was a co-ed, you had to come in front of the class and talk without a script. If the teacher were to just call a team, you were to just talk, whether you fumble, stammer, whatever, but nobody laughing at you, but until you got it right. Right. And that's the root training that we have to go back to. It will start off like a story, but why we had to be reading Enid Blyton and all of that, we are, according to Sprang, we didn't have to create anything, you know, it right here. David Rudder would tell you when he walking down Frederick Street, he walking in silence because he hearing everything. He hearing from another space. When the woman say a wine like I never christened, he get that from Charlotte Street. A woman was telling another, two vendors, you know. She was telling another vendor, Gail, if you see how I wine in that party, I wine like I never christened. And he put that in a calypso. So where Sprang and Rudder, they need silence, but then they have to express it. And I remember when sometimes I'm driving up the road, going up east, and on an afternoon, I used to hear Sprang on the radio. Was it Damien he was with on the radio? I don't know who was the co-host. And what station? I can't remember what it was now. Oh. And, okay, thanks for that problem. Listener, twice I had to pull off to the side of the road, you know. I was just killing myself laughing because the co-host, he was laughing more with the jokes that Sprang giving, and Sprang wasn't really giving a joke. It's just how he was saying what he was saying. And the co-host would just be laughing in such an infectious way that you had nothing else to do but to laugh, you know. And I carry that spirit with me because Sprang was, in his simplicity, he was a complex being. I met him in Washington at the same friend, and we were all in a line. He hardly ever spoke in the line. He's a guy like that because he listens more. He listens, and as Marcus really said, he picks up all the detail, all the minute things. we would call a derogatory name for it, a gaping. You're just gaping and looking. No, but he wasn't just gaping at people. He looked at all the things that they would be doing, and in his silent world. So, you know, is a loss to us that has caused a void, and I don't know if it will be filled. It is not to be filled by somebody trying to be Sprang. And Oprah Winfrey said the same thing. Don't try to be me. We came, we did our part, and somebody else now has to take it now to another level. And so I am just picturing him up there with Shadow and all of those that recently left. And that must be some kind of communion up there, man.
Yeah.
Really, really touching, you know. So in saying goodbye to everybody and to you, Marcus, I was so glad to tune in. I think I tuned in about 9:05 or 9:06. So I missed if you had given an introduction as to who you are and if you work with a radio station or something. So just tell me that bit.
I will tell you that part. I didn't go into much detail in it because
Okay.
I don't really sell that part too much, but yes, I worked with radio station. I want to believe I'm an honorary member of WAC. No, but I worked in local content at WAC and before that at Radio Trinbago. I am a teacher by profession. I am a culture lover. I am a panist. I am I am the MC now at Calypso Review. I completed in 2017 a master's in Carnival Studies. So this is one of the things that I am on that master's platform is why I felt compelled to host a forum like this. Because this is where, in terms of even research, even if it's from an oral perspective, this is where I felt the need for us to do that. And nicely enough, I have one of my lecturers in the room here. She's, if I'm not mistaken, what was the term for what was the term for you ladies who went bishops? A Hilarion. She is a Hilarion, like
yes, dear. We tend to be out there and people feel we belong to a lodge. We don't belong to a lodge. We just...
like yourself, she's a Hilarion.
See? Well, I didn't even know that. I am now asking you genuinely who you are. And it's amazing how the Hilarions are so strategically placed. We end up just bouncing up one another and say, oh, here we go again, you know? but it was really a pleasure. It was and you heard how many things you already list in less than 2 minutes of what you're participating in. And I'm sure you don't mean just, well, you're skimming it. No, these are things that you are actually doing. Look how many you call already. Yeah. You know? And that's great. That's really great.
So I don't know how you got the invite, but again, thanks for you being.
I got the link from a friend, from a group chat. Group chat.
So I realize it would have been, and again, it was nice to know that people from different spheres came in, and this again, one of the things that this moment set up. And I see Wendell hand is up, Keith's hand is up. And I just want to make this last point. I think more than ever, and Dr. Rouse, you mentioned about a void. And I think nicely enough, Sprang had a succession plan in place. So it may be a void in the sense the volume of information that he had in his head, but I think he left everything or put everything in place. Wendell, come in on that note.
Yeah, I agree with you. The void that we will experience, and which cannot be filled, is his sense of interpretation of our reality and as events unfold around us. You know, that's the void that we'd feel. But we now have to find our own way, informed by our exposure to someone like Sprangalang, to continue that journey of interpretation, of staying connected. But I initially put up man for two reasons. One to thank you again, to salute Dr. Rouse. I have been singing her praises for years, and she's no stranger to
Yes, and
me
you're my
sing
mentee.
her dues.
And let him
But
know to be a mentee. You don't have to be younger than the mentor. Eh? You don't have
that's
to be
right.
young, exactly.
That's right. That's right. But Marcus, I know we're getting close to winding up, and I don't want to go too serious. But I want to encourage everybody who would be involved in this session to reach out to the creatives around them. Just a little hello, a little, are you okay? Because there are several creatives who are not doing okay. And very early in this this lockdown period, I got a call from Damian Melville. And when I watched the phone, my initial thought was something is wrong. And that was the place that I went to. When in truth and in fact, Damian just called to see if I'm all right, you know. And I think we need to have more of that type of interaction so that we don't always live in that state of anticipating bad, but stimulating good environments around us. And this is certainly something that this session has done. I see Maria Bola continuing to do her and creating that environment and stimulating that environment. Damian's initial call prompted me to reach out. We connect from time to time, you know. So I just want to applaud you for this and to continue to encourage all of us. Let's reach out to our creatives. Let's keep everybody close. Yeah. So thanks again for this, Marcus. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Wendell. Thanks a million. Keith.
Yeah, but
Maria, you will go up. You will make your comment next.
all right. So let me give everybody the opportunity to say what they want to say. But I'm just looking at how things developed over the last week. Marcus, you remember you had your session. I think it was Thursday night.
Thursday, yeah.
It was Thursday night. We that's why I just decided here what I'm going on Zoom. And we're just going to have a talk in commemoration of the month that we're in, and we talk about tent and the importance of the MC and all of that, right? And the next day, well, we know what happened.
Right.
Right? And everything just happened. We didn't know why it was happening. You could remember the conversation we had on WhatsApp. And everything just aligned, right? It had to it happened how it happened. We will never be in a position to understand why, and we can't question why. We just have to we just have to accept and take whatever was passed on to us in whatever form, whether it be like me, just someone listening on radio and learning so much from Sprang. And I never talked to Sprang in my life, but I could tell you, just listening to him, I mean, from one frequency, he changed the next frequency, and I listened to him over the years, and you know, and he has impacted me far much more persons like yourself would have actually physically interacted with him, you know. So the fact is they will be, but the opportunity here for us now to take some of the lessons and some of the conversations we had and pass it on to the next generation, and even as Mr. Etienne said, reach out to the creatives and so on, because at the end of the day, we see them, sometimes we see creators larger than life, but at the end of the day, they are human too. They are human. So on that note, I'll leave the floor open to anybody else.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks for continued support, man. Now, I'm telling people your business. Keith is my classmate, so this is a fella that we would have met in 1X in Holy Cross College, right?
Let me out.
You know. So I mean, and this is one of my friends that I could say supporting the cause, and keep thanks for your continued support, man. Marie, I see your hand up. So
Well, good night, everyone. I am so honored to be in this group because, first of all, I have to thank Marcus, and I have to thank COVID, because if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't be part of this week and sit down eating biscuit and cheese and being part of this select group of people. Early on, somebody said, Sprang said, foolish people don't know that they're foolish, right? And my comment was, how you know you don't know if you don't know you don't know, right? You just don't know. All right, so that was just that. But I have to comment on what Miss Rouse said. She came on early on and she spoke about her class and not being able to see what people look like and not being able to talk the way we talk with our hands, because I'm talking now with my hands in the air.
right.
And she's, you know, she kind of hinted to us that, okay, we in a wake and, you know, we need to be able to see each other. We need to see the bits of crumbs falling and and the cheese paste making and that kind of thing. And it would have been so fantastic if, you know, we had that kind of upbeat kind of setting that Sprang seemed to bring. I've never had the opportunity to meet the man, but I've listened to him, right? And when Ms. Rouse said, you know, she would like to see your face, I noticed that none of the blocks that just said Damian Melville, Thora Best, Maria Bola, none of the blocks lit up, you know, with faces and expressions in the whole thing, you know. So, but COVID has done its best and its worst, but hi, oh Lord. I can't be complaining on, you know, not doing the right thing. But COVID has done the best and the worst, because COVID has been able to get us to do this. If we didn't have COVID, people who are not a part of the select circle would have been omitted from the wake, you know? So COVID has allowed us to be a part of it, although we weren't a part of it, you know. So I just have to thank Mr. Batiste Marcus. I'm also one of the Mac students. Miss Fitzpatrick, yes, Miss Fitzpatrick is also my lecturer. So I'm also one of the Mac students, and I tell everybody who listen, go and do the course. Go and do it. You need to go and learn, so that maybe, just maybe, you know, my memory is horrible, but I can tell you, well, I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you where to go and find the information. And doing the Max course, you'll know where to go and find the information. So thanks for being up, for allowing me to be a part of the wake. And so that's all. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Marie. And Marie, two things on what you said there. I just want to thank you and congratulate you for making Damian and Maria put on the camera, because whole night I thought Maria would have been see nighty again tonight.
Oh, and it's not just you don't just do one night a week, you know, you had to do several nights. And also, I forgot to say this. Wake is not biscuit and cheese no more, mister. They now cater. You have catering going on.
This is the
you know, so you have tonight would be pilau, and tomorrow night might be salmon with baked potatoes.
I was wondering where the bar, where's the bar? Where's
And the bar, of course, there's a bar.
But cricks and cheese.
Yeah, you know, no. That's a thing of the past.
Well,
you know.
You are Max student. My parameters said that I am a country boy, you know.
Well,
then that's why I meet.
You see, she being real. Because I mean, if you're from the country, you need to put in the wild meat and thing. you know. So I know wakes are different. It's a different thing now. It's just not, you know, I remember as a child, you go to a wake and everybody's so solemn and you sit and you talk and you play cards and they make cricks and cheese and, you know, they might have somebody who bring sandwiches and you always have coffee brewing and stuff. Well, no, it's not like that. It's not like that anymore. It different, really different, you know. But yeah, no more cricks and cheese. Unless of course you want that.
Prunes and peanut butter. No, that wedding.
No, and she's right. You're right. I remember for my my former mother-in-law week, people, but she used to cook, and all her daughters have this sweet hand, and people were asking, you could tell me the menu for the different nights, so they could decide which night to come back.
And don't forget the repast.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do not forget the repast.
You know what? Tomorrow night.
If food bring you out one day.
I will say it out again. Tomorrow night, we doing the week. Walk with your food.
Very well.
Even if it's a 1 hour session, we going in the full wake settings.
Well, you creating history. You having a Dutch wake? So what is this?
What time?
But
what
wakes
time,
have always
Marcus?
been Dutch. Wakes have always been Dutch.
Yeah, but not
They
formal.
come with their hands swinging.
You don't come with your hands swinging, no? Wakes have always been Dutch.
Well,
so he's just bringing it back.
Everyone's having
Oh, God.
No, long time when you see somebody dead, you might have go. How I used to know, because I used to, like, if any family and like with my grandmother and thing, I remember collecting the tin now, sometimes just to play with it and thing. Because people would come and it's like an abundance of cricks tin used to come. Now, as I say, a tin of cricks is over one. The last time I see a price was what, 140 or 150, somewhere up there.
Cricks is Mr. Cricks.
So you had to cater food. So only what I will send out the messages. Maria will let you know.
Okay.
Possibly maybe about maybe 8 o'clock. We might do, as it's Sunday evening, we'll do maybe just a 1 hour. We'll come, we'll jam some music. That will be the bongo night.
And Marcus, you see, I open my video, so now you all can see me now. Marie make me feel a little how. So Marie, I open my video.
This is a lot better.
I'm so sorry.
Now you can see.
It is a lot better. Thank you for that.
You're most welcome. According to John Lewis, there's good trouble.
You see how different having a face on a screen.
It makes a world of difference.
It does.
And you could feel the energy, and you could see people's contours and what they're feeling, it coming through in the voice.
Yeah.
So I'm here.
It does.
So thanks, Marie.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome.
So tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night is the bongo night.
We hit a bongo night. I go look for. But Damien, you could share music. You're on a laptop or on a phone?
I'm on my laptop.
Right. So Damien, you could bring music too with Zoom. All participants, or I could put the settings that everybody could share. You know. Right. So I will change the settings so that if once you're coming through, you could share too.
Okay. No problem.
You know?
Well, somebody just said that the bongo night is the night before the funeral.
Yeah.
Oh, bongo night is
the night before the funeral.
Oh, all right.
So,
Try and walk with your best sprang along joke tomorrow night, please.
Very well.
Your favorite sprang along joke, I know mine.
No, but there is a problem there, because I can tell a joke. You can tell a joke. Marcus can tell a joke, but nobody can tell a sprang joke the way Sprang tells the joke. So no matter what you walk with, you better try and walk with your best sprang impression, because there is no way that you can deliver the way he delivers. It's just not. It's
Well, they
just
don't start
kind
to talk impression and thing, you know, it is overdue.
Yes,
Oh,
Maria, we
Lord.
know.
All you go ahead. Maria go turn up tomorrow wearing beard and towel on her shoulder.
My mind going straight to my wardrobe already.
You know, if you say that and playfully I try to imitate Sprang. Now, Sprang said it, my style is my style. And my style to MC is full suit bow tie, right? And just playfully, at night I come with a vest, not a vest, a waistcoat, a jersey, a jeans, a cap, and a towel on my shoulder. And Sprang along say, hey, that the wrong color jersey I have on, you know. So of course he realized what I was doing. He said, wrong color jersey. That you can't wear a black jersey with a black waistcoat. What's wrong with you? So indeed, you know, and again thinking back, he was guiding in even wardrobe. You know.
So you're saying he was also a fashion icon?
And when you think about it, I don't know who used to do it or who else would do it, but when you think about a man with a rag on his shoulder, who comes to mind?
Right.
Point.
Correct. Point taken.
But I'll tell you something though, Marcus. For years, several of us have the same rag. The only difference is we would hang it up on a chair backstage by the DJ rack somewhere. Sprang was the only one who said he ain't going and look for his rag backstage where everybody rag hang up. So he throw it down on his shoulder and he gone. You know, Carnival down in Guaracara Park this year. I see a picture surface on some social media platform with me, microphone in hand, in the middle of the people stage with a rag on my shoulder. And the first thing run through my mind, oh gosh, people go say I'm trying to do Sprang.
Yeah.
That time I throw it on my shoulder, clean, forget it there and gone out, you know. Sprang took the normal thing that we would do and the elements of us who used to hide. And he said, not me. I not hiding no aspect of the thing. Everybody using rag, I keep in mind with me. And go on. Simplify the thing.
He was just real. He was just a real whatever he did.
Well, tomorrow night, come with a rag on your shoulder. Maria.
It's only right.
Yeah.
It's the right thing to do.
Just remember, black waistcoat and black jersey don't go together. Just remember. Bring your rag, but not black and black. Sprang say so.
That's right.
Guys, thanks again. Much love to everybody. Blessings to everybody.
Nice blessings.
Yes, thanks again, Marcus, for the space.
Yeah, thanks for you all coming out and making this thing possible. So moving it just from an idea into a reality, and you know, I just the medium by which we do it. And you know, I didn't even plan to do it again, but all the chicken, man. I like that. I like that. So Marie, yeah, Keith.
Well, Mr. Etienne, as I used to say on the radio program with Sprang Along, Gotti, there we go.
There we go.
So Maria, you have your clothes. Maria, you're coming out tomorrow then with you.
I'm making no promises. Don't put me under no pressure.
You don't need pressure, Maria. I sure you don't have your way already, your kit.
I can't sleep. I'm gonna dream.
Night, everyone.
All right.
Good night. Thank you so very much.
Good night.
Good night.